Downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you clear to land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hey, Happy New Year. Well, it's absolutely bloody great to be back. Thank you very much for joining us on this live stream, the first of 2022. You'll be hearing more about that date shortly. We got some special news coming up. But before, for the first time in this year, I'd like to thank Sky Demon for sponsoring the live stream. Thank you very much, Sky Demon. We couldn't do it without you. And as usual, we've got your very first tip of 2022. Oh no, I had my mouse lined up ready for it. Now it's moved. The first Sky Demon tip of 2022. Here you go.
Hi, I'm Rob from Sky Demon, and here's today's top tip. You may not be aware of this, but with Sky Demon you can have easy access to all AIP documents, not just those associated with a particular airfield. In the Airfields tab, look up at the top for National AIPs, choose your country, and then search in the sections for the document you're looking for. If you don't know the chapter number you're looking for, you can search for a title in the search bar, like so. For more information about Sky Demon, you can find our documentation on our website and within the app under the Help menu.
There you go. Probably not the most exciting feature in Sky Demon. Not the one that gets used the most, but the one that's got acres and acres of useful information buried in there for when you need it. So,
but more importantly, delivered by Rob from Sky Demon.
Delivered by Rob from Sky Demon with melodic voice. Good. Right. So coming up tonight, we have got. It's great to see so many people here. Undoubtedly waiting to see stuff from Zara coming up later. So just to let you know, we've got weather coming up because I've remembered that this time. So weather will be running shortly. We've got a whole bunch of news. Then we've got news of 2022, which you'll want to hear. And then we've got the Zara interview after that. So something to look forward to. And after that, we're going to Fancy Hangar, events, clubs, etc., 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 all the usual stuff. So before we move on any further, I think it's time to run the weather. So here's Simon.
Hi everyone, and a very happy new year to you. I hope that you had a good Christmas and a good new year as well. Sorry I can't be with you this evening. I'm actually giving a training session to a pilot who's looking to see something pretty adventurous, which you might hear more about in the coming months. But I've got the forecast for you as usual, and it's looking a pretty mixed weekend. Just look at this satellite picture. Beautiful picture from this afternoon, showing this afternoon's front clearing its way eastwards, taking the rain band with it. Look at the sharp back edge there of the front, and then the clearer skies coming in behind. But these huge cumulonimbus clouds, these are showers which are moving in. So this is the more unstable air, and this is the more stable air associated with the front ahead of it. Brilliant, isn't it? It really explains the weather story when you're looking at these satellite pictures. It's something that we do at Aviation Weather School as well. More on that in just a second. But this is your forecast for Friday. Now, a bit of a change in the forecast, I'm pleased to say, kicking off today. The cloud ceiling forecast that we show you here, this was traditionally from the GFS model, but this is now the high resolution UK Met Office global cloud ceiling forecast, and this is really good stuff. So this is available to all WeatherWeb premium subscribers, and if you want to know more about that, go to weatherweb.net. But this is available in the aviation section there, and what it shows us is in real high detail the cloud bases above sea level. So this is ceiling, so this is 5 kilometers or it's 5/8 or more, and you can see here that during the course of Friday, cloud bases lowering off towards southwest Wales, southwest England, 1,000 to 2,000 foot bases, but locally as trough moves through, probably bases below about 1,000 feet. Elsewhere, most showers through the course of Friday are going to be out towards the west, western Scotland, northwest England, western parts of Wales. Perhaps more persistent showers and rain for southern parts of Ireland. For flying, actually, I think eastern air is not too bad. Probably, I'd say it's flyable to marginal just because of the strength of the wind, but some heavy showers in the west making for marginal conditions here as those showers rattle in, some QNIMs to be dealing with as well. And then for Saturday, front moving its way quickly eastward, so probably best to get down the airfield, grab a bacon sandwich early on Saturday morning, and hope and wait for this front to clear east during the course of Saturday itself. You can see there by midday, the cloud ceiling forecast has most of the cloud clearing away towards the east, and these much higher bases then following in from the west. Green is 2,000 feet and above, white is basically 4,000 feet and above, so you see there better conditions, but there will be some showers. The showers could be quite heavy, particularly across western parts of Ireland and western parts of Scotland, but there will be gaps between them, so actually I do think it becomes flyable as that front clears through. It just is going to be breezy once again. And then for Sunday, a little area of low pressure passes eastwards. That takes some heavy showers or even some more persistent rain with it. It clears eastwards, and then we get dry weather following in. But across much of Ireland, across England and Wales, it is going to be pretty windy. Gusts of 25 to 30 knots. So still not great conditions. So I'm going to say none to marginal at best. And then we find this front moving into southwest Ireland during the afternoon, bringing more rain here. Best of the conditions probably on Sunday across central and northern parts of Scotland. So it's all a bit of a mess. In fact, the perfect weekend, I would say, to get your weather knowledge up to scratch. And I've got a part 2 weather school this weekend. If you're coming on it, hope you're looking forward to it. We're going to be learning all about SKUTs to forecast cloud bases and tops. We're going to be talking about forecasting fog, talking about winds at all different levels as well. So look forward to that if you're coming on it. If you've not been to weather school yet, get yourself to Aviation Weather School Part 1 on the 5th and the 12th of February. It runs over the 2 consecutive Saturday mornings of the 5th and the 12th of February, presented live by me, and you get access to a recording of each session up to a week after as well, so you can go back and just pick up on anything that you may have missed. For more information to book your place, go to weatherschool.co.uk. Okay, I will leave you with that for now. Whatever you're doing, have a fantastic week. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll see you live next week. Whatever you're doing, enjoy your flying. I'm going flying every day next week, fingers crossed. Yeah, as if that's going to happen. We'll see. Bye for now.
Or flying every day next week for Simon, that could be cue for a solo.
It could be cue for a solo. It's about time, isn't it? We'll have to get some champagne popping music or something. Absolutely intriguing. He was saying at the beginning that tonight he's giving some training to a pilot who's going to be doing something interesting over the next few months. What that is then?
We'll have to grill him and find out.
Weatherman to the stars.
Clearly not. It could be, couldn't it? Right, let's move on, because I get a feeling. And hello to everybody from Belgium and everywhere else who's watching us. There appears there's lots of comments about saying lots of famous people from Belgium in the audience, but I'm not very good on my famous people from Belgium knowledge. So if you're famous, or even if you're not, welcome from Belgium. Thank you very much. Let's move on to some news before I dig myself a hole and upset any more people.
There's a few questions. It says it's a live stream interview with Zara. Where's Zara? The Zara interview is part of the regular live stream, and that will come just after the news.
Absolutely. So bear with us. Zara's coming. Promise. This is a live stream that takes place every week. We always have the weather, the news, and then the interview. So the interview's coming. It's coming up. We'll rattle through the news as fast as we can. Dave, tell us about Coventry.
Coventry Airport. In case you didn't know, Coventry Airport is under threat from developers who want to turn this wonderful facility, an important facility. They want to build a gigafactory for car batteries on that main runway. It's coming up before Warwick District Council. They're the authority that's going to make the decision over its future. And Warwick District Council is having a meeting on Tuesday, the 11th of January, where effectively the decision will be made or not to go ahead and give them planning permission to close this airfield and build a speculative project. Now, to try and show support for Coventry Airport, there's an open day and a fly-in on Saturday, this Saturday. And despite what the weather says, it's going ahead. I spoke to the organiser of the open day, Charlotte Bailey. I spoke to her earlier today, and they're going ahead come what may. There's a reason for that. It's because the airfield is closed on Sunday and Monday. The meeting's on Tuesday. So Saturday is the day they have available. So if you care about this airfield, and we should, all of us, it's an important point of principle, not let alone an important airfield, we should be there and show support. There's a whole bunch of activities going on, so it's not just a case of turning up at a deserted airfield, freezing your nuts off in the pouring rain for 2 hours. You can go there. There's lots of things open in there, making sure there's cafes and facilities and all that kind of thing. If you go to the Flyer website, www.flyer.co.uk, there's details there. You can find a link on the homepage. So go Saturday, Coventry Airport.
Excellent. Ed, you're up next with some LAA news.
Yes, yeah, good news from the LAA. It's the start of the year, and they're making a bit of a flying start. After all the turbulence caused by COVID and lockdowns, they're starting 2022 with membership numbers and number of aircraft on LAA overseeing permits to fly back at 29 pre-19 COVID levels. Pre-COVID levels. Number of aircraft with active LAA permits, which is a good barometer of recreational aviation activity, was 2,831 at the end of 2021, marking a recovery from a fall from 2,785 in 2019 to 2,729 in 2020. There's 81 that includes 81 aircraft which gained their first permit in 2021, up from 67 last year. LAA membership levels, which dipped to a low of 7,683 members during lockdown, recovered to 7,837 at the end of the year, again reverting to pre-COVID levels. That's great news for them. Obviously, the strong bit of recreational aviation in the UK. And it's good to see.
Good, cool. If you fancy flying something that's not on the LAA fleet, that's a lot more expensive and a bit heavier, you can now do that, Johnny.
Yeah, so if you fancy flying, you can obviously fly in a Spitfire if you want to, but now if you want to fly in a Hurricane and get your hands on the controls, you can from this year. So this is the world's only two-seat Hurricane. It's going to be operated by Hurricane Heritage, who are based at White Waltham. They currently have Hurricane R4118, which is one of the most kind of significant World War II aircraft flying today because of its heritage and what it's done and the aircraft that it shot down. So you'll be able to fly this new one from White Waltham, and I have a price list here. Actually, half an hour will cost you £2,875 and a 65-minute experience, which they say knock off 5 to 7 minutes, so about 57 minutes airborne, will be £5,850.
Blimey.
But it's the only place in the world you can do it, and it is actually a tiny bit cheaper than some places operating Spitfires.
Yeah, I think it's you could fly. The aircraft's changed hands, hasn't it? And I think Biggin Hill Heritage was operating it last year, so it's kind of started off there. But it's great to see it at White Waltham with like you say, R4118, which I think it's the most famous Battle of Britain Hurricane going, isn't it? So.
Yes.
Yeah, still £6,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Which it's great, but it's a punchy price. Anyway, here you go. Quick story about the Junkers. Made its first flight. This is the Junkers A50 Junior, two-seat aircraft, going to be produced by Junkers in Germany, hopefully in the 600 kilo microlight range, and it will cost you 100. If you buy one of the first 29, it will only cost you 179,000 euros, including tax. Although you probably have to pay some more tax when you import it into the UK. So if it gets approved in the UK, I think that's got to be one of the most gorgeous looking little microlights around.
I think that's brilliant for a 600 kg microlight, with the vintage looks and the modern usability of the Rotax in it. And I know it's got a Garmin glass EFIS panel in it, which is a bit of an odd mix. But what I think it may sound like a lot of money, but I think that's probably a bit of a bargain if you're a long-term kind of investor in aeroplanes. So I think
that's going to be a great aeroplane, and I think the only thing I don't understand about it is that it's powered by a Rotax 912 IS, so it's burning about 15 litres an hour, but it's got a 120 litre fuel tank in it, so you've got 8 hours endurance. I mean,
and as Nick Allen says, is the Junkers for two people who don't like each other?
Wow. Yeah. Maybe it's like distance making the heart grow fonder. Maybe, who knows, a reunion after every flight or something.
That's it, yeah.
But anyway, there you go. Ed, you've got a really dull story, haven't you, coming up?
I have an important but not very exciting story, and that is that Rotax have added a 24-volt option to their 915 IS engine. Don't wake up. The more powerful 24-volt electrics are available for the top of the line 915 IS. The new engines enable 24 volts aircraft board systems. Support digital displays. Ian, it's so boring. Ian's walked off. These glass cockpits and adds reserved for auxiliary.
You heard it here first. Come to the Flyer live stream every week for news on 24 volt electrical systems. We bring you the lowdown. Yeah, right. So,
shall I finish?
Airfields for all.
Yeah, the new 24-volt system delivers up to 800 watts. So get creative with your cockpit architecture. And surely costs you the same. Costs you probably a chunky amount more money. It doesn't weigh any more though. There we go. I don't think you. Well, of course, it's too powerful an engine for that Junkers, and you probably don't need the power.
Yeah. No, did you say something?
I did. That's it. Boring story over.
Excellent, Dave.
Well, I'm afraid this one isn't, absolutely gripping either. I'm afraid this is about Airspace for All. You may remember that it used to be called FASVIG. That really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Anyway, now they're called Airspace for All. They were set up to deliver airspace-related programs, and it's become two separate entities. So there's a new company called Airspace for All Services, ASL. They'll continue to offer airspace-related consultancy and services on a commercial basis. But in addition, there's the Airspace for All Trust, which is chaired by Sir John Allison, a famous name in aviation. And they are establishing a unit that will coordinate responses on behalf of general aviation to airspace change proposals. We get a lot of those, and the response to them sometimes isn't coordinated, but they're going to do that. And by making it a trust, they get charitable status and they're eligible for certain government grants. And the DFT has given them a grant. So I think that's probably a good thing. Even if it's
granted them something.
Even if it's a little less than gripping. Shall we move on? Next story.
Yeah, let's move on. What have we got next? Johnny! You're up next.
So this is a pedal planes. So more than 60 of them attended the annual World Pedal Plane Gathering at Shuttleworth at Old Warden on the 29th of December, which beat the previous record of 53, which was set at Oshkosh in 2019. It was organised as a joint effort between Youth Education Support Flyers and the plane guy, Andre. I can't pronounce it. Andre. Andre. So yeah, they managed to get a load of UK pedal plane owners and pilots. 59. We'll have to update.
You were counting the Lysander, weren't you?
Is that not pedal plane?
That Lysander will take some pedaling.
That's okay. I'll put the
there was just looking through our pictures on our on fly.co.uk. There was one odd one out. There was one nose wheel pedal plane.
There's always one, isn't there?
Yes. I think it's an Escapade or
it's a Hawk on the left. Isn't it a Hawk on the left?
It is. There's a Hawk on the left.
Oh no, there's two.
What I thought was brilliant, right at the back, someone's got a Dakota pedal plane. How brilliant is that?
Yeah. The only airplane in there that I could get in anyway these days is the Lysander. So there you go. The Lysander rules, okay. The big one.
Apparently there was a tri-pacer and a Hawk.
There we go.
Anyway,
I'm stopping myself from saying something rude about a tri-pacer. So there you just make it. So just one quick last news story from me, which is the GAR changes come into effect on the 1st of January. So if you're feeling like jumping in your airplane, flying off to France or anywhere else, or all of those kind of places, there are kind of some different rules. There's a briefing document out, and we'll be working on a video explaining it all once we've got everything nailed down, that is. But one of the big changes is that you now have to give 2 hours notice before you leave the UK to go to Europe, for example, whereas before you could just jump in and go. You didn't need to give any notice, and that's 2 hours before you leave, not 2 hours before you arrive. And on the way back, again, you have to give 2 hours notice before you take off. That never used to be the case. It used to be 4 hours before you land. So 2 hours each way. And certainly the outbound stuff is completely new. So that will probably catch a few people out, I'm sure. Along the way, SkyDemon are working to incorporate it into their software. Online Guards, which runs through SkyDemon, I think is kind of also doing the same. And Dave White, who you will know, is doing all sorts of sterling work behind the scenes, nailing down the sort of the real story, because some of the stuff in the briefing document was not as clear as it should have been. So there you go. I suggest that, given everyone's dead keen to see Zara, that we hit the Zara interview. She's coming. In fact. Okay, so we should probably, before we hit the Zara thing, let's just briefly explain. Zara was flying this morning from Dubai to Riyadh. So she started at 4 o'clock in the morning this time. I know. Just let me finish. Anyway, we had to record it. at 5:30. Okay, so here we are. Johnny, run that recording.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us. Can you just first tell us how you are and where you are?
Sure. So I'm pretty happy right now. I'm a week away from home, which sounds like it's very weird thinking about that. And right now I'm in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So I came in today from Dubai. It was a 4.5-hour flight across north of Qatar and I think across Bahrain as well. My apologies. Let me turn it off. And yeah, so really happy to be here. It's stunning. Saudi Arabia is absolutely beautiful. Really smooth flight as well. No turbulence whatsoever. No clouds. Perfect visibility. So it was just a really nice flight.
Excellent.
Just like Russia, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, just like Russia. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So how was that big water crossing from India to Dubai?
Oh, it was long. It was 8 hours. It just wouldn't stop. It was in the beginning it was pretty tough because the air pollution in Mumbai is really bad. I think when I left it was like 2,500 meters of visibility, and it doesn't get better, right? So you didn't have a choice. You have to go. And luckily, because of how you can look straight down, so it's not too bad in reality. So I took off, left direct to Dubai. That's right, and it was just really hazy and smoky for 2.5 hours. So you could really see the smog just kept on going and just wouldn't stop. And so I got a bit bored of that because it was quite hard to see the ocean as well because of it. And it was like, it just wasn't much fun. And then finally started clearing up. I think I was at 6,500 feet, something like that. And I'm pretty sure I had a tailwind. No, sorry, sorry, I'm a bit tired. I've forgotten. But yeah, so 8 hours. I got to Oman about 6.5 hours through. Obviously, I didn't speak much on the radio throughout. And then I get into Dubai, and I was so tired. And I listened to the ATIS, and it's just awful. I mean, it is terrible. It was gusting 45 knots, like a perfect crosswind. Visibility had dropped to, I think it was 3,000 meters. And it was just not good at all. And so then I had to divert to another airport called Al Ain, which is about 90 minutes by car north of Dubai, about 20 minutes by plane. And that was fine. But it was interesting. So I decided to divert, and from making that decision to actually getting there was about 20 minutes. And it had gone from 22 knots, a slight crosswind, to 27 knots. And then, so I'd landed, and I have a tendency of taxiing quite fast. I don't know why. It's just, I guess once you're on the ground, you're quite keen to stop and then get out and everything. And I had to slow down loads because I was about to take off again. I was reaching my speed of rotation, so it was quite amusing. But yeah, so that was fun. I came in at the right time. A few hours later, it was IFR, strong winds, and yeah, so it was great.
Brilliant. Now I think the last time we spoke was Alaska, and then we spoke to your dad when you were between Korea, Taiwan, that kind of area.
Yeah.
How was that journey from Russia down into the Southeast Asia?
Russia was a whole thing. Yeah, Russia was challenging. I think it was both mentally and flying wise, especially mentally. So going from Anadyr to Magadan, which is Anadyr is like way northeast Russia, to Magadan, which is also way northeast Russia. It was about 6 hours over nothing. Travis did the exact same route, I think, but then the opposite way. And in the summer, so I'm kind of jealous. I should have really left a bit earlier, but it worked out in the end. And so that was 6 hours over nothing. By that point, extremely cold, all snow, and it obviously so cold there's no trees, no villages really, and on the ground it was minus 35 degrees Celsius for that leg, and I wasn't sure how my engine would cope with that. So in Alaska we added some like metal blocks to block the intakes to kind of try and keep the engine warm. I hadn't tested it though, right? In Alaska it was only minus 8 degrees Celsius, something like that. So I left for Magadan. Luckily, I left for Magadan. Luckily, there was an inversion going on, so there was only or there was minus 35 degrees on the ground. It was about minus 20 up in the air at 5,000 feet. And so I left, kind of hoping that would be okay, and it was. So that I went down to minus 22 degrees Celsius, and based off sort of how the plane was coping, I thought it could easily go down to minus 25 before getting in the yellow. So it was pretty good. And I was stuck in Magadan for a week, I think. A pretty big snowstorm came through. And then I left for Ayan. Well, technically I left for Ekimchan, and then I had to land in Ayan because of some poor weather, which was a diversion. And I was there for 3 weeks, and that was a tiny town of about 800 people, and they did not speak any English, and there was no Wi-Fi. And so that was pretty tough. So luckily I could rent a little small apartment, so I could kind of cook my own food and everything. But it was pretty interesting because the supermarkets there, well, more like a market. It's kind of like a pharmacy, if that makes sense. So you kind of have to say what you want. And obviously me not speaking any Russian, the only thing I could kind of point to was like pasta, and like maybe, and then just point at different things. So my diet was pretty limited during those 3 weeks. And yeah, the weather was pretty bad. And when it was good, the winds would kind of be gusting sort of between 25 knots and 35 knots. And I wasn't really comfortable with that because the airfield was situated in between two hills. And it was kind of another mountain ahead. And so it was kind of one of those tricky airfields where you don't want to mess up. You want to get it right first time around. So I wasn't too comfortable with leaving when it gusting strongly. So I did more days and then was able to leave and head further south into Russia, and that was fine. That was really nice when I got to Khabarovsk, which is a relatively big city. Got Wi-Fi again, or good Wi-Fi, and and then South Korea, Taiwan, Philippines was all very nice. And then I got near the equator where you get loads of thunderstorms. So a bit turbulent. I stopped in Malaysia, in Kota Kinabalu, and then left for Jakarta, Indonesia. That was about a 7-hour flight. And it was all going pretty well. And then there's this awkward 2-hour leg over water to get to Jakarta. And it was just blocked by thunderstorms. I tried multiple times to try and get around it, but at this point I was at 600 feet above the ocean or water, and so it didn't seem like it was improving, and I just wasn't really comfortable trying to find a way. I didn't know if there was a way around the thunderstorm, and even if there was, just being there for 2 hours at 600 feet. So I decided to land in another pretty small city called Ketapang. And yeah, I was there for 2 nights, and because it's a domestic airport, I was sleeping in the terminal, so that wasn't the most comfortable stay. But yeah, other than that, so far it's been going pretty well. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Good. And in terms of the aeroplane itself, has it been performing as you'd expect and as you'd hoped?
Yeah, it's actually been really good recently. So I did have a flat tire on Christmas Day in Singapore, so that was slightly frustrating. So I spent the day trying to fix that. Otherwise, yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to going to Slovakia, and then they'll do proper huge check there just to make sure that everything is perfect. They did a check today, fixed some stuff on the engine today just to make sure that everything was okay. But yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Good. And then with the route that you've got left now, which is kind of Egypt, Greece, and then back, mentally, does that just feel like a casual cross-country across Europe?
Yeah, it's so nice because it's what my dad warns me not to start. By the way, like you're not done yet. You still have winter in Europe. I did winter in Siberia. I think winter in Europe will be okay. But yeah, obviously I am careful. Gotta make sure the weather's okay. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Europe, where there's like an airfield every 10-15 minutes. That's just gonna be really nice.
Excellent. Now, I'm just looking through the comments. Have we got any questions?
I presume, Zara, when you said about Slovakia, you'll be taking the Shark back to the factory temporarily, will you?
Yeah, so I think I'm only in Slovakia for one night, and then that's where I'm landing. I'm landing at the airfield, which is where the factory is as well. And so they'll do a proper check there, and then obviously flying the plane back. And I'm allowed to keep the plane until August or September, so I'm really excited. So I get
Wow. Are you going to come over and see us?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to actually fly to DK, say hello to some friends as well. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, well, so I was looking at Belgium. I was looking at coming over to. You're going to Bubblegum, aren't you?
Bubblegum?
That's the name of the airport you're landing at.
That's right. Yeah, Gothic.
Yeah. But at the moment, there's kind of restrictions where you have to have a PCR test on arrival and quarantine until negative or something.
Yeah, I think I heard. I mean, I'm not too sure because I haven't been home in a while, but I have heard that it's getting stricter. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were looking. We couldn't figure out an easy way of popping over to meet you when you landed. So we look forward to seeing you over in the UK at some stage.
No,
come over.
definitely.
Maybe we'll have to do a live stream where we get Zara along and she can meet some of the live stream viewers.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Question from Russ Stein. Does the Shark have an autopilot and a BRS?
It does have an auto. Sorry, what was the second question?
The BRS.
Ballistic recovery chute. Parachute.
Oh yeah, it is. So so it has both. So the autopilot kind of straight and level. So I love that. And yeah, it does have a parachute. So if everything goes very wrong, then I do have a backup plan.
That's good. And then we've got one from Nick
Allen. There's a comment from which I'm guessing is going to be Rob Hughes at the British Microlight Association. Congratulations for everything that you've achieved so far. We're all eagerly following your progress and look forward to seeing you at the end of your journey.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should go to like Milton Keynes Snow Dome and recreate the Russian experience or something.
Yeah, I miss it so much. Yeah, that would be great.
We'll get some pasta in.
Yeah, it is very strange though, because so right now obviously this is the complete opposite to Russia, but there are similarities. Both places are so uninhabitable basically that for hundreds of kilometers there's just nobody there. Although I did see camels today, so that was really exciting from the air. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, what time is it there at the moment in Riyadh?
It's 9 o'clock in the evening.
Not too late. But you must have had quite an early start this morning.
Yeah, well, 4 a.m. Local time. Sorry, 1 second. Yes. Huh?
Yeah.
Sorry,
someone is so famous now that I think she gives autographs.
This is the hotel manager, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Can you sign your bill?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think
there's a good comment there by Nick Allen. Of all the places you passed by, are there any that you've thought I must come back and have a closer look so far?
Yeah. I mean, the whole of Southeast Asia was pretty incredible. Taiwan is beautiful from the air. I didn't realize that. They've got an amazing mountain range. It's really gorgeous. And Saudi Arabia, actually. So the people have been extremely kind. I went to see a women's university today, the largest women's university in the world. And they were really cool, super nice and everything. And I was able to meet Prince Sultan today. So he's one of the royalty here in Saudi Arabia, and he's invited me back. So I'm looking forward to that.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well done.
Has there been any point where you thought you might be in danger?
I wouldn't say that. I'd say there's points where if something additional had gone wrong, I would have been in big trouble. For example, coming into Ayan, if the weather in Ayan hadn't been good, I would have been in big trouble. So by then it would have been hard to go back to a different alternate airfield before sunset. Although I did check, Ayan was always my sort of alternate in case I couldn't get to Akam Chan, and Ayan was supposed to be beautiful all day. But then when I actually came in, you could really see that the cloud and that bad weather was coming towards Ayan as well. And yeah, so if it'd been IFR for any reason, then yeah, I would have been in pretty big trouble. But luckily that didn't happen. And a few different things where, yeah, if my destination airport for any reason had been, I wouldn't have been able to land there, and yeah, I would have been in really big trouble. But so far that hasn't happened, so I'm pretty happy. Actually, crossing the Pacific, I was at 600 feet for like a few minutes, and that wasn't much fun. But I wasn't necessarily in danger, right? When you're over the ocean weather, I guess, I mean, you get some more reaction time when you're at maybe 3,000 and 600. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be an uncomfortable ride down. So yeah.
Do you think you've grown as a pilot over the trip?
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I'd say in some places I'm more confident, in others I'm less confident. I'm a lot more skeptical. I think now with the weather, I really do want to make sure that I'm 100% happy with it. And I think I'm also better at saying, actually, I'm not happy flying today, and like I'm not doing it. So yeah, stuff like that. And but then overall, I think I've noticed I'm a lot more comfortable with uncomfortable scenarios, if that makes sense. And right now, dealing with the Shark has G-force warnings, so sometimes the turbulence is so bad you get some of those. And in the beginning, that would kind of freak me out, but now it's like it's another one of those things, and things like that. So when Viz is a bit lower in the beginning, that would be slightly uncomfortable, but now it's like, okay, as long as I can see the ground and I know that there's no mountain ahead of me, I'm pretty happy.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
Okay, I think that's absolutely brilliant. We're really, really glad that you've taken time out of your day to join us. I realise you've had a long day.
I'm sorry it was so late. Yeah, I'm really sorry.
That's okay. We've all been taking blood pressure medication all day just to make sure, because we're getting increasingly stressed.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's great talking to you guys. It's nice being able to
I think that there's a comment here that kind of sums up how everyone is kind of feeling. It's all, everyone's wishing you well, and full of admiration for everything that you've done so far. Really,
thank you.
For a bunch of us pilots who never venture very far outside the UK, to watch you flying a microlight around the world is just incredible.
Thank you very much. It's very kind.
Absolutely stunning.
Absolutely. So we'll either come over to Belgium, or we'll be more than happy to host you over here and get something sorted out. So take it. You don't need us to say take care for the rest of your trip. What you got coming. You got that far. So have a great time. And we look forward to seeing you. And we wish on behalf of everyone, we wish you really, really well.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Have a good evening.
Thanks
very
much, Zara.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Zara. There we go, man. As she said, it was worth the wait. Fabulous interview. Wishing you blue skies and all the way back home.
I think to be clear, there's probably a little bit of confusion out there. We've been trying to get Zara all day, and originally it was going to be at 2:30 because her schedule is obviously fluid, and we finally, the window we finally managed to get was actually at 6 p.m. UK time today. So we recorded that interview at 6 p.m. Today, along with some members of the Flyer Club who were invited to come along and join. So it wasn't live; it was as live as we could get it, and we just couldn't get it on. So as soon as once Zara's back and she's chilled out and got her feet back on the ground, literally as it were, we'll see if we can work with her to get her over to the UK, maybe put on an event, invite a whole load of people in and get her to give us a talk and a show and everything else about that. So that would be fantastic. I'm sure there'll be a few awards that we could give her as well at that time. So everyone here will obviously be able to come along. So that's very good.
That will surely be an event that we can tie into Fly 2022. Which
Great
is something we
segue there
to mention earlier.
Yes.
Great segue
Fly
there.
2022. This is a new idea from the Flyer crew. We're setting a target. we're setting a challenge, really, a challenge to fly a total of 2,022 minutes during this year. That's 2,022 minutes is 33 hours, 42 minutes, which is a modest target for some, and not impossible, but a stretch for others. And to help inspire readers to go for this target, readers, I say our community, the flyer community, we come up with a bunch of ideas to incorporate into your flying during the year. Here's a few coming up. There can be more. They're not exclusive, and we're very welcome to. We'd love to hear your ideas. So I think it could be things like places to go, and we're thinking about destination airfields like the Touquet, Duxford, Old Warden, Glenforsa. There's many others. You could be adding some skills. I know Ian, for instance, is going to have to convert his FAA IR to a UKCAA IR, and he's really looking forward to the test. There could be experiences you'd like to share. You could decide on places to have lunch. You could have places where to spend a weekend. And in fact, on that very subject, one of the opportunities that's been suggested is what's known as the Italian Raduno. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is an event in Italy, and this year it's going to be very special. So we'll have details of that in the next issue. You could, of course, go on to things like Lundy Sunday, which would add a few hours into your year. We'll be looking at various events and fly-ins. We'll be looking at some of the equipment and accessories which can improve your enjoyment, such as action cameras. We'll be discussing, one thing that came up during early discussions is for people who are renting an aircraft, and 33 hours at perhaps £200 an hour represents quite a substantial sum of money. Maybe it's time to buy a share or to buy an aircraft outright. And another of our contributors, Paul Cadell, who may well be here watching, he's going to make his year about introducing more friends. He has already introduced a lot. He's going to introduce more friends to flying. So anyway, there's a whole thing in the next issue of Flyer about Fly 22, and we'd love for you to join in, give us your suggestions, tell us about your plans for the year, which you can either do by emailing me or going to the Flyer forum or getting in touch with us any way you like. But we'd love to hear from you and hear your ideas. And we'd like to hear how you think we can improve Fly 22. For instance, today I was talking to Riccardo Donadis, who runs the Italian Radano, and he suggested having some kind of leaderboard showing how people are progressing on their hours. I think that's a brilliant idea. I have no idea how we're going to achieve it, but it's a great idea.
There is going to be we're going to have because this is a community effort with community encouragement, we're going to have a forum thread though at the Flyer forums. So you'll be able to post about things that you're doing to get your 2,022 minutes of airborne time. So.
And we'll monitor it throughout the year, and there will be prizes. Echelon Air, after having watched the Flyer Members Special yesterday, have already been in touch, and they've said Echelon Air are based at Biggin. They run a couple of brand new Cirruses out of there. They're going to provide instruction Cirrus for a day and basically create a package that's worth £2,022. So there'll be that, and there'll be all sorts of other stuff. I think we committed to, we couldn't quite commit for 2,000, but we committed to stick, I think, £220 worth of avgas in one of the winners' tanks. Yep, you can log your 55 minutes so far, Graham.
It all counts.
There you go. It all counts. Yeah. So basically, it's about getting out there, flying, doing some interesting stuff, doing some change stuff, telling everyone about it, and winning some prizes, which we'll collect throughout the year. Maybe one of those prizes will be a place up front at Zara's talk or something. Who knows?
Fantastic. But it's, no matter what you do, it's all about trying to get some more flying done in 2022. We've had a rough couple of years in terms of the sport, so let's dive into it with gusto.
Absolutely. Talking of gusto, it's probably time for.
So, Fancy Hangar. Obviously, we heard in the news earlier that the LAA's fleet and membership are back to pre-COVID COVID time figures, which is great news, and made us think, if there's some new types to be approved in 2022, what would be favourites for us? Who's first?
Johnny.
It's me. So I've gone straight in for the jet. So I've picked the cracking Subsonics. Look at that. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's to be fair, it's probably not the cheapest jet that you could buy. But it would be a great thing to see on the LAA register. You can build them. They say for, well, this is obviously US money, but £124,000,
which includes the engine, I think.
It does. It does. The engine itself is 75 grand.
Wow.
So it's a huge amount of money for a tiny little. It's probably that big, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Carry it under your arm.
Yeah. Fit it to your bicycle. But I just think it would be a great thing to see flying around in the UK.
Yeah. Is the rest of the aircraft a large fuel tank?
Well, good.
I think it is quite thirsty.
Yeah, it does have a decent range. I've got the spec sheet open here somewhere. It is. It was about 400-mile range.
Do you mean more than 100 miles, Johnny?
Oh yeah, 40 gallons, Dave.
40 gallons.
Yeah.
US gallons.
US gallons.
Yeah.
What's that? 160 litres, something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think it burns quite a lot.
Yeah, it burns. Yeah. It burns a fair bit.
I know someone who flew one from the west coast of the US out to Oshkosh, and he said it was. He said in an RV it would have been easy. It would have been like a 2 or 3 stop trip. But I think in the jet it was It was like closing on for a dozen stops.
304 miles with 30-minute reserve.
That's it. Yeah. But what a great machine! And I happen to know, having spoken to Francis Donaldson a long time ago about this, he was quite upbeat about approving this kind of airplane because he said. The jet installation, really easy. Just sit it on the top, plug in the fuel, plug in the electrics. He said much easier than fitting a regular engine.
To be fair, Ed, and not at all to diss Francis. When you talk to Francis about something and he says, "I don't that should be possible. I don't think that's a problem." That his calibration of should be possible and don't think it's a problem is generally pretty different to most people's calibration of that.
Quite possibly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Dave's got 2, but did you make a decision, Dave?
I did make a decision. My quandary was I quite like a thing called the Verhees Delta II, and I also liked an aircraft from Peter Funk called the BF-139 Carbon Classic. Well, that's not it. No. So I quite like this as well. It's slightly Luscomish, but with a radial engine on the front. However, I have gone for the Verhees Delta II, partly because it's a 2-seater. This is a 2-seater, hence the Delta II. One of these turned up at the LA Rally a few years ago, a single-seater version, and it just amazed everybody. I thought it was fantastic. But the reason I like this aircraft is that I could paint myself green, land at Lairfield, get out of the cockpit and say, "Take me to your leader." And I just have to do that. Sorry. As
Dirk Klassen says, and Belgian again.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a fantastic piece of kit. That Delta, and he brought it to the LA Rally in 2019, I think it was, and it was big enough and spacious enough that he was camping inside it. He would sleep in it at night.
Yep.
Excellent. Good. Well, if you had 2 aircraft to choose, I don't know, Darren. I think that's a pretty good. I think that's a pretty good one. You had 2 aircraft to choose from. I had 3 aircraft to choose from. So the first thing I thought would be quite good if it was approved in the UK was a Kitfox STI. I know STI is not exactly the best name for an aircraft, but in terms of like picking around all the little microlight grass strips of the country, in and out of rough ground, stuff like that, the STI just seems like a great airplane. Unfortunately, it's not approved in the UK. And then obviously there's the one that everyone was expecting, which is the good old Panther. Here's the Panther having the wings folded just to make sure it fits under the wing of the 182 or in the hangar or somewhere in a little container. That would be absolutely great. And that is the aircraft that I mentioned earlier when I was talking to Francis about getting it approved. And it's not approved yet, is it? So probably.
So what have you gone for?
So ultimately, I've gone for this, the Rounds S21 Outbound. I think that's a smashing looking airplane. I've flown a couple of rounds with Randy Splitter himself in the States. Great chap. great line of aircraft. I reckon this one would be a bit of a hoot to have. That would be my one, but it's not approved, and as I understand it, there's about zero chance of it getting approved. Not anything to do with the aircraft. I just think the UK dealer doesn't really want to go through the hassle, from what I understand.
That's a real shame, because that's a super. I really like the S21. I think that's a brilliant machine.
Yeah, Randy kind of ran that. It's got a great Facebook page, and when it was being developed and built, he was kind of like, you could follow the story, and it was a really interesting, fascinating story. So that would be my choice anyway. Which leaves us just with you, Ed.
Dave White says, I hope Ed's choice has a 24-volt system. They're fascinating.
They are, actually.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to disappoint you, Mr. White, as I have gone for this. I've picked the fabulous Timber Tiger Ryan ST replica. So this is a 95% scale version of the Ryan ST. Looks vintage, but it's in fact 100% modern. Under that cowling, amazingly, there's a Rotax 912S. How brilliant does this look? Other engine options include the D motor, Continental O200, and there's also a version that will take the Verna Scarlett radial. So the kit that's been developed is a full set of prefabricated parts. It's got a modern, so they've basically taken the Ryan ST and basically gone through and given it a modern aerofoil, simplified a whole bunch of the systems to make it much more kind of easier to use and build, changed a couple of little bits of geometry in the undercarriage to make it more stable on the ground. All in all, it's a modern aeroplane disguised as a classic. And the kit is $43,000. And there's a $6,000 quick build fuselage option. Just add your own engine and avionics. And I just think that's fabulous. I would definitely go for building one of those. And I've been kind of following the development of the aeroplane in the States for a few years, and it's a really fantastic piece of work. So I think that would be really, really nice.
And it's also got trousered undercarriage as well, Ed.
It has a trousered undercarriage, and I love a trousered undercarriage. Well, this is not really. This is kind of leg fairings with spats, but they're heading towards a trouser. It's not a 100% trouser undercarriage, as some people know. I have a thing for a nice trousered undercarriage, but it's pretty special looking. So
looks like it's kind of flowing through a set of high tension wires just to get the bracing done at the end, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. So
what happens if one of those wires snaps?
You die.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure. Yeah. Maybe not. Yes. Ed wins is in my copy and paste folder.
I think Martin Loosby's comment is actually
yes,
very relevant.
What was that? I missed that. Oh, wait.
Where's it gone?
Someone has to find it.
Have you got it?
Think it's moving up.
I'll introduce handicapping for Ed. It's not my fault. I picked good choices.
Yeah.
No, it is a great choice, Ed. I have to admit, it is a wonderful choice, and I'm very,
Nick has
very
wins, but
jealous.
only for Rotax sounds like a different engine.
It doesn't. It sounds like a Rotax.
It doesn't. Yeah. There we go. Kia Williams says, Ed wins using his new position at the LAA to get some leverage for approval. If only, Kia. I don't think editing the mag qualifies for any leverage whatsoever.
So I can't send you random mod forms for you to sign off.
You can try, Johnny, and I can stamp it. Anyone who wants to send a mod in, I'll make up my own stamp and stamp it approved. Steve Slater, if you're listening to that, obviously I didn't say that.
Excellent. You heard it here first.
Ed's department.
Do you plan to keep this job, Ed, for very long?
What was that, Dave?
Do you plan to keep this job?
I probably killed it with the approved stamp straight away, I would think.
If that was in America, there'd be someone phoning up the local FISDO and going, "Excuse me, I need to talk to you about a guy who's signing off false airplane parts. You should investigate."
Already, I can hear there's typing somewhere. Some of the dear Steve, Ed is planning to approve mods.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, he's not planning. He's already approved 3. I've seen them.
Yeah, he's already said he will.
So have we decided on a winner?
I think it was me, Dave.
There were a few votes for you, Dave.
Jolly good.
Yeah.
Oh, plus one for Dave. There we go.
Oh, crikey! I've won a vote.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's a nice. I quite
Oh,
like
2 votes.
Oh, there we go. Look. So
I'm a contender.
Brian Park says,
You are a contender, Dave.
Super 7 Super Sport is approved. I think it is, but the STI version, with the special STI wing, isn't approved.
Isn't? Yeah. I think that's.
Which is a shame.
Ed's right.
Yeah.
That's. I'm fairly safe ground there, aren't I? I
That's
think Ed's right. Good. Okay. Well, there you go. So we'll see what happens next week, and we're getting in towards the end of the show. So what have we got coming up? Johnny, are you going to tell us about the club and why people should join the club?
I can. Have we got any events first?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Well,
we got any events, but Dave?
It's like Johnny's preparing.
It's midwinter, so there aren't many events. But of course, there's Saturday, Coventry Airport. Very important to support that. Over the weekend is 8th and 9th of January. Should you fancy it, I don't suppose many people will, given the weather, but the North Coats Brass Monkey Flying is on. It's going to be less brass monkeys and more soggy brown, soggy ones.
Muddy monkeys.
Yes, muddy, yes. But I know North Coats, and you'll get a warm welcome if a slightly damp one.
Okay.
Brilliant. Yeah, so club. First of all, it's January. So you've got, if you are a member, there's 5 landing vouchers this month. Beverley, Cromer, Netherthorpe, Spanhoe and Strathaven. So you can go and, if you can get airborne, you can go and check those out. And then look along here. Where has it gone? There it is. Oh, it's on Dave's side now.
Have a ticket.
So yeah, there are changes coming. And if you want to get the best price to get involved with all things flyer, then sign up now. It will never be cheaper. It's £30 a year at the moment, or £7.50 per quarter. So just go to subscriptions.flyer.co.uk and you can sign up there, and there will be lots more good stuff coming in the coming weeks and months.
Absolutely. And 16th Vista Scramble from Catkin. There you go.
Excellent.
So finally, we've got time for a little QSY thing in there. I think. Have I missed anything else out before we go there?
No, I think we've actually made it to QSY this time.
Fantastic. So I presume everyone out there has seen this video.
Boo.
Boo. Boo. Boo. Boo. There's a guy on the internet whose name I can't remember put a video out called "I Crashed My Airplane," or it probably didn't. It probably "I Crashed My Airplane" rather than airplane, didn't he? So all sorts of controversy about this. Effectively decided he was trying to encourage people to wear parachutes when they went flying. So went up flying, had an engine failure over some mountainous terrain, allegedly. Jumped out, airplane crashed, went along, got the stuff out, went back. Currently being investigated by the FAA, as I understand it.
Good luck, FAA. And to be fair, that once he jumped out, the Taylorcraft appeared to fly a whole lot better without him. And it was only the fact it flew into the side of a hill. I was kind of willing it to fly down. There was because he was like, oh, there was lots of terror, and he's like, oh, there's nowhere to land. And but then he was kind of filming it from his descending parachute, and every so often it would fly over this dry kind of riverbed, and you're kind of willing it to go and just touch down and just kind of roll to a stop.
Yeah, I don't know what the part is. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's very interesting when the engine goes and all he's doing is pulling back on the control column.
There was I've never seen that as a response to.
No, I don't know who his instructor was.
No, I know. Yeah, that doesn't make it go any. It doesn't restart. It doesn't wind the band up.
Yeah.
No, I do know from experience that it's what you have to do if you want to stop the propeller, and presumably what you do if you want to be able to push the door open. To jump out as well.
Oh, luckily the door was open before the engine failed.
It's quite difficult to push a door open.
I noticed Dave's remaining very tight-lipped on this.
Me? Well, actually, I was just responding to a question in the comments about the start time for the Coventry Open Day.
Yes,
starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Well done.
Things happening all day, and I also put the link to the flyer website where all the details are.
Fantastic.
And you take that one down. You got this one here, which is Falmere Hot Roast, 6 p.m. tomorrow, Friday.
Excellent.
Right.
Is that a hot roast or a hog roast? T is quite close to G on the keyboard, so
They're right, yeah, right next to each other.
yeah, because I can't imagine a cold roast or a wet roast.
Well, a cold roast is a sandwich, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Who knows?
It is a hog roast. Catkin did say that earlier in an earlier comment.
There we go.
There we
We've
go.
got the confirmation, hog.
Yep.
Fair enough. Just in case you didn't get it.
Yeah, oink oink.
Great. Well,
Brilliant
thank you very
stuff.
much, everyone. I think it is pretty much bang on time. So thank you, Zara, for that. We will do our very best to get Zara over to the UK. We'll have a go at organising something, bit of a fly-in, maybe a bit of a, I don't know quite what format it will take yet, but we'll work with the Rutherfords to see what we can do. That would be very, very, very good. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy your flying this weekend.
Yeah, just throw in there. Obviously, if you go on flyzolo.com, Sam did remind us that Zara's trying to raise some money for a couple of causes, isn't she? So if you, as in that last sector of the trip, if you fancy supporting some of the causes that Zara is passionate about, take a trip to her website and see about contributing to some of those. So.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think that all that is left for me to do is to subtly move my mouse over here so I get to the right place. Say thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Zara. Thank you, team. We'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. Fly safe,
Have a good
everyone.
weekend.